All right, my next guest will face Brandon Bushaw at XMMA 2 on July the 30th. And of course, it is Westin Wilson back on the show. Westin, how are you?
Doing well, man. Doing really good. Excited for this fight. Things going well. Camp's going well. So,
Fantastic. I mean, it is right around the corner next weekend. How has this camp been thus far? I got to imagine you're through all the hard parts and now it's just weight cutting time.
yeah, we're just kind of slowing everything down, calming everything down. Last night I did a couple rounds with Wonderboy. We just kind of worked on some distance, some timing, um, implementing game plan, stuff like that. So it was nice, to kind of get like a 30-minute one-on-one sparring session with him, and and just stop and go, and okay, hey, this works really well, that was really cool, let's do this. Okay, like having that, like being able to just play like that for 30-40 minutes with one of the best strikers in the sport. It's awesome.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, having Stephen Thompson and his father Ray there at your disposal to help you get ready for this fight, it's just got to give you a ton of confidence leading into this matchup. Can you just tell me, like, how have you learned from Wonderboy and his father as far as like distance? Because they use it so well. I mean, Steven in all of his fights, I mean, he just uses his distance and his timing so well. Are you feeling like you're really starting to pick up on that, and his expertise is really rubbing off on you?
Yeah, I've always been pretty decent at distance control, especially being 6'1", 6'2" at 145 pounds. If I can maintain my distance, it's game over. So I've always been like, that's always been like a focus of mine. But really with Coach T, we've been able to really hone in, my distance, my style, incorporating a lot of that karate stuff. Like what I was doing was just all self-taught type distance management. And now with them, it's more like understanding the why and the how, and the win, especially with distance. So it's been great to kind of be able to like see like just little nuances on where my feet go and how my feet should move and which muscles I need to be activating, and what signs to look for in your opponent, and those type of things. So there's a lot of little details that nobody knows about except for them. And the other big thing that I've been doing since I've been out there is I've been doing point karate tournaments, which I had never done up until that point. So we got two kids who are, world champion. I shouldn't say kids; they're 21 and 18. But they're world champions in point karate. And so obviously before I moved out to South Carolina, I was working with Raymond Daniels, who did point karate. And so that's where I kind of got a little introduction to the sport. But then really that we were just like, all right, why don't I just compete? And so we went down to a local tournament and I competed. I took second. I got robbed, I think, in a couple points, but no, it was fun. So that's really teaching me like how to explode and when to explode, and how to counter and back off, and everything else. So it's been a big component of my game recently.
I can only imagine. Yeah, and again, with those guys in your camp, I mean, you're only going to get better and better. I did want to ask you too. Obviously, the fight with Gilbert Burns didn't go Wonderboy's way. He seems to be such an even keel guy. Like, no matter what happens, win or lose, he stays positive. What is his mentality at right now? And can he point towards something where maybe he could have done something a little bit different and he could have got the W there?
Yeah, it really came down. It was 1-1 going into the third, right? 29-28. Wonderboy came out the first 2.5 minutes. He blasted that spinning hook kick to the head and rocked Gilbert and threw some good shots. And then obviously in that last 2 minutes got held down, and Gilbert ended up swaying the judges in that last 2 minutes. And so I think really it was I think they were both so hesitant towards each other that Wonderboy was afraid of the takedown, and Gilbert was afraid of taking significant strikes, that they kind of canceled each other out in a bit, and Gilbert was able to get in and get inside and do his thing, and was really strong. I think for Wonderboy, the mentality though is next camp to just focus, instead of focusing on Gilbert and what Gilbert's good at, just focus on what he's good at and what he's strong at, which is hitting and not being hit, and not letting guys get close. So I think you'll see that in Steven's next fight for sure, is him just focusing more on his game plan instead of worrying about like what his opponent's good at.
Well, there's no doubt about it. He'll be back in the weekend for sure. One of the best in the game. Now, you yourself, you had 2 fights recently, back to back. In May, you suffered a loss to Carson Frey, and then in April, you got a win over Timmy Tyler. Are you trying to stay active? I mean, because you didn't fight.
Oh man, you want to hear active? So I fought last August. I was scheduled to fight in November. That event got canceled. I fought in January. I was scheduled to fight in February. 2 weeks before, the kid said he didn't want to make weight, so that one got scratched. So then we got a replacement. Was going to fight Drew Fickett, UFC vet in Arizona. We booked flights, we booked hotels, and then Drew Fickett didn't get medically cleared like literally a week and a half before the fight. So that got canceled in March. So then we fought in April, we fought in May. Then I was supposed to fight June 4th, 3 weeks later after the May fight. We're in the back, made weight, everything in the back in the locker room. That kid pulls out with a sprained ankle. So then, we're fighting July 30th. I've already got August lined up. We told when I moved out here to South Carolina, I told Coach Steele, like, let's just do something I've never done, is just stay super active and try to fight as much as possible. Obviously, COVID happened, so I came up with a plan on how to get fights during COVID. It's worked out brilliantly. So I started a live streaming company. So I do pay-per-view live streams for all these promoters, and I do it for countered rates if they put me on the card, or sometimes free if they put me on the card, and get me an opponent. So I've been able to stay super active, and I also turned it into actually a really good business that's making me, a couple extra, bucks a month.
That's fantastic, man. It seems like things are going well for you. So at this stage in your career, you're 10-6 as a pro. Like, what are the goals now for you? I mean, how much longer are you trying to do this? And like, do you still anticipate, climbing the ranks, maybe fighting for Bellator, PFL, or the UFC one day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously UFC's on the goal, is on the mind. It's the goal. We have guys come in all the time, UFC guys. I won't name names, but I mean, I do extremely well against them in the gym. When we get guys coming in to visit, the talent's there, the mindset's there now. We had a little bit of setback in May, but with July and then August, if I can win these next 2 months, I mean, that puts me at 12-6, with a lot of like guys who could vouch for me that come in, that would say like, yeah, I mean, this guy is legit and everything else. And so, yeah, the goal is UFC. It's not really PFL. It's not really Bellator. It's the UFC, and that's it. Obviously, they care about the record and everything else, but they have accepted guys with less talent and worse records, in my opinion. So I don't see why not. I don't see why I couldn't make it. And so we beat Bushaw. We knock him out. We knock out, August 28th, that kid. And we're there. That puts me at 5-1 in the last 6, all within a calendar year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Contender series vets with less experience than that making it to the UFC.
For sure. I mean, you never really know what the future holds. You string together some wins, and you could have a monster fight for the biggest promotion in the world on your hands. I did want to ask you too, man. Like, outside of just your training, obviously you got your family life. Like, what else are you doing? Do you have a full-time job, or are you just doing this part-time job?
So I'm a senior product manager for a software company. So I do have a regular job. I make really good money doing that. The money I make from fighting, I don't need. Like, it's not like what I depend on. It's not my living. It's not my livelihood. So it's more like this for me is more legacy. It's more, showing my daughters that you can do whatever you want. And I mean, you can hear my daughter probably screaming in the background. but yeah, it's letting them know like, hey, you can do whatever you want. Like, so that's why I'm you know, determined and not gonna stop until I get where I want to go. It's more than the money, it's more than the livelihood, because none of that stuff matters to me. I have a great job that's super flexible, lets me train when I want, when I need to, and everything else. So.
I was gonna say, man, you clearly have a lot on your plate, a lot going on. I was gonna ask when you find the time to get in there and train, but you're saying that your main job gives you that flexibility, so you can break away whenever you want.
Yeah, I train in the morning. I wake up and do like some mornings I do strength conditioning with the same guy that Steven uses, Josh Reynolds. So I'll do that twice a week, early in the morning, and then I work out from 11 to 12. I also teach jiu-jitsu a couple times a week. I come back, so I work with my development team in India early in the morning. Then I do my strength conditioning. Then I come back, I work. Then I go, I train again. I come back, I work, and then I spend time with the family for like 3 to 4 hours a day, and then I come back and I train again and do my last session at night. And then I'll if I need to, I work at night if I have to for my job. Or most nights it's just me and my wife times. Like, you know, we watch Netflix and whatever else is like popular to watch.
Gotcha. I know what that's all about. I'm getting married later this year, so after I get done all the stuff that I gotta do, I gotta give the fiance the quality time. Now this, you know how it is, man.
It's important, man. Like I try to at least dedicate an hour to 2 hours a day with just her, the kids in bed, and everything else. But it's cool because now I've got all my girls, they're going to the gym. My wife's now going to the gym, something that they've never done in the past. So I shouldn't call it gym, the dojo, the school, the karate school. So we got everybody in the family now and making this kind of a family thing. So it works out that way to where we get to now all hang out more together. And sometimes I'll bring my girls in and before my practices we'll work on their moves and everything that they need to work on. And so it's cool to now be able to share this that I've been doing the last 10 years. I'm able to now finally share it, you know, with them and they get to see it and understand it a little bit better. They still don't watch me fight, but well, one step at a time.
There you go. Maybe one day. Now this fight here is going to be in Greenville, South Carolina. How far is that away from where you're at?
I'm in Greenville. It's backyard. Yep.
Perfect, man. So I'm assuming that you're expecting a lot of support come fight night. A lot of people there in attendance to cheer you on.
Yeah, no, 100%. The Upstate Karate is a great community, great, you know, school. They've got 800 students, so there's a lot of parents. I teach a couple of the jiu-jitsu classes, so a lot of people at the gym, they really want to come behind me and support me. And so it's been great. I've also got another teammate, John Sweeny, on the card. So we've been able to really sell a lot of tickets and bring a lot of people to the show. And then outside of that, like work people and church people and things like that, I've got quite a bit of people coming in. And what's awesome is I got 2 former teammates, Ramsey Nijam and Steve Seiler, on the card as well. Those were like my first teammates. So it's cool to get to be on the same card as the guys that when I started were in the UFC. So it's kind of cool to be there together, you know, that kind of on the same show.
And there's a lot of big names on this card, a lot of former UFC fighters. That's got to be pretty exciting for you. It's got to be a showcase to be on a card where a lot of eyeballs are going to be watching. Yeah,
100%. Like it's a great opportunity for me to show up, show out, and show everybody what I got, and prove my skill to everybody, what me and Coach T and Wonderboy and all these other guys who know, you know, that come in and they all say like, oh, you got this, you got this, you got this. It's great to be able to like finally show that and you know, prove that I belong with the best of them.
Tell me a little bit about your teammate, Sweeny. I'm interviewing his opponent this weekend, so I'm intrigued about that fight.
Yeah, Sweeny is, he and I had 2 different styles of fighter. Sweeney's that really hard nose in your face, hits hard, keeps a high intensity. style fighter. If you get him, if he's in boxing range, he's got very fast hands, very strong hands, and he's got great takedowns and great takedown defense. So he's a lot to deal with, and he is a big 35er, and keeps that strength. A lot of guys who have big weight cuts, they don't typically can keep that strength fight night. But he's able to put it all back on and keep that strength. So should be a good fight. I watched Dre Miley fight as well. Dre's got quick hands. So I think that's going to be low key the fight of the night potentially. Like they both have fast hands. They both have good wrestling. They both, I think Sweeney's got a little bit more power. So, who knows? Who knows how that one goes? I think Sweeny takes it, but Dre's a tough kid. I was impressed last fight I watched him.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight for sure. Well, you mentioned weight, so I got to ask you, where's your weight at right now? How much more do you have to cut?
I'm only at 10 or 11. My opponent wanted to do 150 catch weight. And it's fine. Like this whole year, we've not been cutting weight at all. I walk at 165, cut down to 45, but I haven't made the cut to 45 in almost 2 years now. Mostly because we've just been fighting every week or every month, just every month. It's like, okay, I've got something booked, and I've made weight 6 times this year. I just haven't gotten to fight 6 times this year because, opponents are weenies, and people like to back out night of the fight.
Well, you got to be excited here for this matchup with Brandon Bushaw. I know him a little bit. He actually fought up here in Maine, which is where I'm at for the NEF. It's been a while ago when he did fight, though, so I'm sure his skill set has evolved. But he's 6-4 as a pro. What do you like about this matchup for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know anything about him, honestly. I haven't watched him fight. I assume he's more of like the brawler with like some okay jiu-jitsu. Is what I take from it. I do really well against brawlers. I will have the height advantage. I think I'll have maybe a size advantage. I don't know. I definitely have the height and reach advantage. Yeah, I think there's nowhere this fight goes that I can't be dangerous. And I think like everything that he's got for me, I've got solutions to fall back on. So I haven't focused at this guy at all. Last fight against Carson Frey, we focused so much on that wrestling and yada, yada, yada. And then I got like so in my own head about it. So this fight's just been like, I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to strike. I'm going to mix things up, change levels, maybe go for a couple takedowns. We'll see, like it's everything's about me this fight. I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about what he's got. I don't really think there's anything that he has that I haven't seen, and I've only, like I said, I'm only going off a 30-second clip I saw of him fight, and that's it. I could be dead wrong. He could be this world beater, but when you've got somebody like Wonderboy, when you've got these karate kids in the gym, who are fast and throw things from all angles, fighting a regular MMA fighter just seems a lot easier, a lot slower. And so you're able to just kind of pick people off. So striking wise, I'm not worried at all. Grappling wise, I'm pretty good on the ground. So that was my first passion, my first love. I'm pretty well versed on the ground. Even though that's where most of my losses come from. It's because I play too close to the edge, I guess.
Well, it sounds to me like you're feeling confident regardless of where the fight goes. I'm really looking forward to this whole event, your fight, and so many others on this card. XMMA 2, July 30th. Again, Westin Wilson will meet Brandon Bushaw. Westin, it's been far too long since we've spoken, my friend, so I'm glad to have you back on the show. Before I do let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media, and if you have anybody to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you may follow on Instagram at Westin Wilson, Westin, just like the hotels. Same thing with Facebook. My live streaming company, combatcast.tv. There's a lot of good shows that we're going to be streaming in the next 8 weeks, 9 weeks coming up. So fight fans, go there, support local MMA and boxing, kickboxing, and actually July 30th, I'm doing a show that's going to be bare knuckle boxing and motocross at the same time. So it should be pretty cool. I'll be fighting that night though, so I won't watch it. But nonetheless, you can go check out the content up there. And then, yeah, one other thing I want to say. If I win, I want to take on the winner of Marcus Brimage and Kyle Bochniak. That's the goal. So XMMA, and I'll probably make that call out to that fight night. I want the Brimage Bochniak winner.